Hello, my name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch. I'm an author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. And today's little chat is about witches' marks. What are they? Most people have birthmarks of some type or another. Some birthmarks are quite small and they fade with time. Others are quite noticeable. But the witch's mark was traditionally thought to be like a third nipple or teat. And the witch hunters believed this was where she suckled her familiars. Now, all that aside, what are we to make of it? What are we supposed to think? Because a lot of marks which come upon our body are symptoms of illness or of injury or sometimes of encounters with the supernatural. I remember there's a very famous ghost story, and I wish I could remember where exactly it took place, but I think it was somewhere in France many years ago, where a brother and sister had made up their minds that whoever died first would come back to talk to the other one and tell them whether or not there really was an afterlife, and that this happened. The brother died first. He came back to visit his sister, and she asked him for proof that she wasn't imagining it, and he touched her neck, and the skin there all shriveled, was quite badly marked and disfigured. So thereafter she wore a black velvet band around her neck, which looked quite elegant, I expect. If she had a nice elegant neck, probably wouldn't have looked very good on me, but still. Who's that? Mabel. That's Mabel. Very small St. Bernard, who snores like a trooper. She really does. Anyway, so that's one. It was an encounter with the supernatural, and it left a mark on this poor woman's neck. That's one. Sometimes we get certain marks come up as we get older. So people, as they get older, will get things called skin tags, which sort of, they're lumps of skin which hang off the arms, often under the arm. Well, all over you really, they can appear anywhere. And some people are very prone to those. They're not bad things to have, but if you think of it, if witchfinders were looking for things like that, thinking that a skin tag could possibly look like a nipple, well then the people they were going to find it on would be older people. And therefore you could argue that the witch hunts really did target older women, especially women living on their own, because they had nobody to cover up for them, nobody to help them, nobody to get them out of harm's way if necessary, till it all blew over a bit. You know, come on, let's send you off to Auntie Ethel's, and then you can come back when Matthew Hopkins, the Witchfinder General, has moved on somewhere else. All sorts of things. So you could argue that skin tags are something which affect you mostly when you're older, not always, and some people are more prone to them than others. And then there are other types of things. Some people will say that the letter, your palm print can show whether you were a witch in a previous life, and I think that's pushing it a bit. I don't think that's one you can really. I've never heard it used in a witch trial account, that the markings on the hands were significant. So I tend to think that's a more modern idea, and I don't give it a lot of credence. But I do actually have a witch mark, believe it or not. And now I'm desperately trying to think which arm it's on. I think it's on this one. Yes, I do. I have a witch mark. I have one since I'm very young, and it's on there. And it's a large, unpleasant looking, well, whatever it is, that hangs on my arm. And yes, it really does look like a nipple. So it's just as well I wasn't around in those days, isn't it? Or I could have had a few problems. I'd have had to keep my sleeves down, covered it up. But anyway, just a bit of something to chat about tonight, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you ever so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.